fixing to pull up at Henry Ford Museum, and we're in the area where Ford headquarters and everything's at. So we're gonna explore a little bit down here before we head home. Yeah, some content you guys have been looking for. Well, here we go. We got it. Let's do it. Now we start to walk into the facility. Here's was it Joseph F. Ford Plaza. Remember what Scotty said, Ford's going out of business. That's why they're building all these brand new buildings and facilities out here. So nobody's even in that building yet. Pretty nice facility out here, man. It's gorgeous. We're about to go into the museum right now. We want to go through the greenfield, like farmland site and all that other stuff, but they said it could take like 2 to 3 hours to get through everything. Beautiful, clean, super clean out here. It's kind of intimidating walking in this place and then just seeing everything like this. It's wild. I don't even really know if you're supposed to be recording inside these facilities, but it's really nice, really cool looking. So there's a 1939 Lincoln Sunshine Special. This was the Franklin Delano Roosevelt's, the first car expressly designed and built for a president. I mean, bulletproof glass, up armor, you see right here. It's steel armor plating, bullet resistant glass, bullet resistant tubes in the tires, revised front sheet metal. It's a V12 L head with 150 horsepower. The weight after the upgrades is 9,300 pounds, and the original cost for this vehicle was $8,350. Extra ride running boards, special platforms at rear of the corners, and chrome handles at rear on each side of the windshield for Secret Service agents. So you can see how they would stand here and they would anchor themselves onto the vehicle as they would protect the president. The back door is designed at rear rather than front. Oh, back doors hinged at rear rather than front. So instead of them opening this way, they open, or instead of them opening normal, they open to the front. So you see the handles on the inside, or the front side instead of the inside. Used by Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman. Chassis supporting frame by Ford Motor Company, Detroit, Michigan. Body by Brennan Company, Buffalo. They have their name on a lot of stuff. And then there's the handles where the Secret Service guys would grab onto it, and then they would put their feet right there, and then they would stand outside the vehicle as the vehicle was traveling, so they could watch for anybody trying to do any kind of harmful stuff to the president. And then you had like the lights with like the siren stuff in the front. E12E. I've got a few videos I'm shooting today, guys, so there's going to be a couple of these. So here is a 1902, it says circa 1902 Brougham, and it's President Roosevelt's carriage, and you can see on the top here it says it was used from 1902 to 1928, and it's from Woodrow Wilson, William H. Taft, Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge during the administration for household errands only. Made unknown, probably made in England. And the large glass in the front was for passengers to see out the bench seat in the front coachman, an elegant carriage for the rich and powerful, it says. This carriage was not custom built like later presidential vehicles, but was simply the sort of vehicle favored by people who wanted to show off their wealth. Looks like everything's made of some type of leather coating on the outside. So like extremely nice, like edged glass where it's tapered and stuff. I forget what they call that. Is that like diamond cut or something? It's super nice. It even has the stampings right there on the axle, 32.372. Here's some pretty cool stuff. This is a 1957 DeSoto Fireflight. It's really neat. And this over here is a 1955 Chevrolet Corvette Roadster. And it's a 195 horse V8, arrived in 1955, and the Corvette's go finally matched its show is what they're saying. That was the motto back then. That's the kind of slogan that they would say. And the Corvette was basically inspired by a voluptuous 1953 British Roadster, the Jaguar XK120. That's pretty much how they got their design for it. They wanted something that looked similar to that. And they just had a lot of rivals. Ford created the Thunderbird as a response to the Corvette. In fact, 1955 model outsold the Corvette by almost 23-1. So Corvette came about, and then the Thunderbird came after, and then the Thunderbird actually sold more than the Corvette. So they thought they were onto something, and then Ford kind of said, nope, we're going to squash that. We're going to do a lot better than you, and they did. Some of the other stuff that is in the museum here is a 1971 Honda Cb750. Their slogan here is pleasure over practicality. And actually, this was not a bad performing motorcycle at all for its time. It was actually a really good, nice performing motorcycle. It was very fun to drive. 2002 Segway, the human transporter. Fold-away bicycles. You guys remember this? The 1981 Checker Marathon taxi cab. It's in some movies. Yeah, that'd be pretty neat to have one of these. And the Texaco truck. Tour with Texaco. This was the turning points, the recent history of gasoline, and then you can see kind of like the pollution protesters smash a car in Seattle in 1970. California is demonstrating in the 1950s. We want a clean sweep of smog. 1963 claimed the Clean Air Act. 1966 came California set country's first motor vehicle emission standard. 1970 was an Environmental Protection Agency proposed by President Nixon. 1973 was the oil embargo. 1975 was catalytic converters and unrelated gas are required. In 1995, most metro areas have vapor recovery nozzles at the pumps. In 2006, vapor recovery systems are part of all new cars. Catalytic converter. (1973) Ford Motor Company brochure, The Clean Air Quest, illustrated a catalytic converter's location. It was in the back of the vehicle. No. It was right there. Right in the front of the vehicle, right there, coming off of the engine. I thought it was pointing to that back there. I apologize. 1970 oil embargo made gasoline scarce, causing long lines at gas stations that did have fuel. 1939 Dodge Airflow truck. The Texaco truck is right in front of us. It's a fleet of stylish tank trucks complementing Texaco's redesigned service stations. You got some cool stuff here. The great seatbelt debate. In the 60s, most people wouldn't use them. In the late 70s, lawmakers mandated a system that prevented a car from starting unless the driver's belt was buckled. This is what does it say? Computerized control modules can detect possible skids and quickly make corrections to prevent them. Probably one of the first ABS modules. Not one of the first ABS modules, but it says November 1st, 2002, Morganton, North Carolina. Stability program. Panoramic windshield, steering handles, front seat passenger restraints, center driver's seat, bucket seats, rear facing passenger seat, so they could be flipped either way. Head restraints, accordion doors, so they fold in and then fold the rest of the way. Wrap around bumpers that go from one side all the way to the other. See the handles inside there? Push handles. (1957) Cornell Liberty safety car is what it was called. Different types of car seats, different types of harnesses. Let's get some kind of metal cage around him. The Ford Motor Company developed one of the first crash-tested child safety seats. Strapped into crash-tested car seats. 1963 Chrysler gas turbine sedan, feature that never arrived. And I remember this when I was looking at, I was watching one of the videos on this, and they were saying that they were trying to take, I don't know if it was this car, if it was one of them, where they were saying they were trying to take a small turbine engine and drive these cars. And it was very effective, but the pollution is what they were worried about. It's a 1986 Mazda Wankel, an engine of no pistons. It was just a rotary piston. You got your intake side. As it would rotate in, you would get your compression side, and as it would rotate through and compress, you'd get your ignition, and as the ignition would expand, it would flip around, and then you'd have your exhaust out the opposite side. It was a very simple, very effective design, but a lot of people said it would wear very easily. Eventually you'd start sucking in extra oil in the wear spots, and then it just never caught on. But these could make it an unlimited, like a huge potential, like, I forget exactly how it was explained, like the amount of power that these things could make could have been way better than anything that we've seen now, especially today with today's technology. It's a 1907 white Model G. To start the engine, press the plunger in the footboard marked start. This plunger operates the lever arm C, which in turn operates the lever arm 25, causing valve at Y to open 1/32 of an inch. Y admits live stream into low pressure cylinder or steam chest. At the same time, valve W open and valve N closes, thus converting the compound engine into a single engine. When the engine is run as a compound, valves at Y and W are closed, valve N standing open. The starting plunger must always be pressed all the way down when starting car from stationary position, and released as soon as the car is well under motion. See that starting plunger returns to proper position after removing the foot. Run the engine slowly until the cylinders are free of water. Steam engine. Diesel and steam engine. Early steam automobiles were novelties. New common steam engine. 1898 diesel engine seen here in the German factories, the Henry Ford's collection. The 1936 Mercedes 260D. A driver sightseeing in a locomobile steam car, a little small tiny dinky thing. This is a GM put diesel engines in cars such as the 1984 Oldsmobile. In 2006, this Audi R10 became the first diesel to win the 24-hour Le Mans. Go biodiesel filter, Biflow. Planning the vacation, the desire to get away. It's a 1939 Ford convertible coupe. V8. tourist cabin, about 1936. It's our early roadside lodging. (1959) Volkswagen Westfalia. (36 horsepower). Gilkey tent trailer, about 1927. It's a 1949 Airstream Trailwind. You could buy this for about $1,995 back in the day. I like this little tent get up here. It's pretty neat. And this, my friends, is a 1956 Thunderbird, one of the most iconic, classic American cars of all time. This is one of the cars that actually ate the Corvette up, selling 23-1, as stated previously. Thunderbird answered Corvette with their new design that mimicked the Jaguar. Thunderbird came up with their own original, and this is how they basically took over the market from the Corvette. You could buy this car back in the day for $3,151. Merritt Parkway Toll Booth. This here is a 1919 model Ford T Sedan. Really cool ride. You could have bought this for $875 back in the day. This had a 177 cubic inch 2-speed manual inline 4. All right. 1903 Packard Model F. Old Pacific, the second car to cross the U.S. This had a 184 cubic inch 3-speed manual. You could have bought this car for $2,500. Two men urged this car across the continent in 1903. Battling muds, ruts, sand, a few roads stretched west of the Mississippi, Packard employee Tom Fetch drove, and Marius Carrara, editor of Automobile, filed stories for the magazine. Their epic journey from San Francisco to New York took 61 days. Fetch's verdict: I do not care to make that trip again. They went from here all the way to here. Here's an early illustration of dirt road traveling, rough road traveling. The tires and stuff that they created, the caps to go on the tires, the goggles, the bulb horns. This is a 2004 General Motors introduced a series of efficient 4-cylinder engines in North America under the name Ecotec. To prove and promote them, GM went to Bonneville with this modern version of the classic belly tank Lakester powered by a supercharged Ecotec engine. Drivers set class speed records with the Ecotec in 2 different years. averaging 179.381 miles per hour in 2004 and 189.205 miles per hour in 2005. The Ecotec Lakester on the Bonneville Salt Flat in 2005. Making our way around, NASCAR Series 2018 Ford. Joey Logano won the Ford EcoBoost 400 and clinched the NASCAR Cup Series championship with this car in 2018. It capped off a strong season that saw Logano earn 3 wins and 13 top 5 finishes. His team Penske Ford Fusion represents NASCAR's 6th generation of cars, while the Gen 6 racers resembled sedans from Ford, Chevy, Toyota outside. They used standard chassis and safety equipment underneath the sheet metal. So here's Ecotec Cobalt. 2004 Chevy Cobalt SS. The land speed car not only promoted General Motors' aluminum Ecotec engine, it also advertised Chevy's Cobalt model. Front-wheel drive. GM ran this car at the Bonneville Salt Flats in 2004 and 2005, but the Cobalt earned the biggest headlines and the most credibility in 2006 when engineer Mark Dickens drove it to a class speed record of 246.849 miles per hour. Cobalt's record earned drive Mark Dickinson's a membership in Bonneville's exclusive 200 mile per hour class, made up of racers who have exceeded that. Horsepower 1,100 at 9,500 RPM. Pounds per horsepower 3.5. Inline 4 double overhead cams, turbocharged, 122 cubic inch. This is a 1923 Canadian Pacific snowplow. This thing is massive. Look at this train. Holy moly. This is unbelievable. It's Detroit and Mackinac. These trains are huge, man. They're so like intimidating being next to these things. Phone's going dead, so it's probably why the images affected it a little bit, but we're gonna let it run until it dies, or just right before it dies. And I'll pick up the other phone. But the quality's not as good with the other phone, so we'll see. It'll be a two-part video. Obviously, I won't be able to put all this in one video. This is crazy.
Esa mano se puede probar y no se puede mover.